Okay guys, for today's video we are going to install and test out the new NOE mold guide for the Lee pot, the Lee bottom pour 20-pound pot. We're going to be using the Generation 2 mold guide. And so here is the Lee mold guide adapter, the NOE mold guide adapter for the Lee pot. And this is the mold guide that attaches to it. The NOE mold guide adapter for the Lee bottom pour 20-pound pot looks like this. And what it does is this part, you slide that into the leg of the bottom pour pot, and then you just tighten this to set it. That's your set screw, and you can position this at the angle that you want to cast with, and then this sits right on top. And some of the design changes that we did, we made this a little bit thicker, just thicker feels a little bit higher quality. And we took out the set screws on top. Some of the users were having issues with the drips getting stuck on the set screws on top, and instead of having them on top, we moved them to the front and or the back. So you can use these, if it's easier to get to in the front, you can use them in the front, or if you like them in the back, you can use them in the back. And this is assuming that you're using the molds to index off the left side. The screws, if you notice, are a little bit longer, and that was designed so that you could use a typical Allen wrench length and be able to tighten these enough. So let's go ahead and get this installed. I'll show you how it installs. Also, as a side note, because of how much the Lee pots drip, we had this milled out to allow for the drip to go straight through, and it should fit for most of the bullet molds. So I'll go ahead and install this, and you can see. First off would be to take this the Lee mold guide, and you can either shove it up to the top and set the set screw, or you can put it all the way to the bottom. As you can see, I shoved mine to the top. I figured there'd be less interference with it up at the top. You can see how I've moved this to the top, and then you just lock it down so it just stays out of the way. So first off, we take this and you loosen this up enough that it can slide in and then lock in. So we slide it in, and then tighten that screw by hand first. Just slide this on, and you'll want to set the height for your mold that you're casting with. Today I'm just going to be casting with my trusty old ranch dog. It's an NOE ranch dog, 432 265 hollow point mold, and it's a gas check mold. This one is one of my favorites, or has been one of my favorites in the past, with making milk jugs really explode with not too heavy of a load. It's a unique load. So anyways, we'll use this to set the height. A quick side note about this mold I'm using. NOE used to use roll pins instead of screws as the sprue cutter stop. This one had the roll pin installed on the opposite side as normal, so I was able to get it discounted locally at the shop years ago. Because of this, I put the mold handles on so the sprue cutter is facing towards me, and the RG clips on the bottom will still index off the left side. So I get it to the right height, then I use the set screw to set it. Then I align left to right. Then I just tighten it in. Then I just lock it down.
You can also angle the mold guide, so you can use some of the longer molds like the NOE 5 cavity molds without the sprue cutter bumping up against the back of the lead pot housing. And here I'm using one of the really heavy 4 cavity hollow point molds made out of brass. Brass and steel molds can get really heavy really fast, especially during the longer casting sessions. Resting the molds on the guide make it a little easier to cast with these heavy molds during the long sessions. And here, I've sped up the clip so you can see the lead pot dripping through the mold guide hole in the middle, and you can see that it's working as designed.